This is Russ. We're back on the road again, or I should say on the trail again. But this time we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to take you guys into Morton Grove. Yeah, and then we're going to pick up the North Branch Trail. We'll go into Niles, Illinois. So this is going to be quite a distance of ride. And I'm on the Rad Rover 5, and the reason is because I have two 20 amp hour batteries on this bike. Hopefully that should give me enough riding to get there and get back. Now the only way that will happen is if I ride a little bit more conservatively, so I cannot hit hard throttles all the time. But we're going to be going on some roads that's going to require me to do that, because we're going to be on some major roads to get there. There's no way to get to some trails or some places unless you take a major road. I mean, if everything had side streets, that'd be a different story, right? But to get to some places, you have to take some streets that you really probably don't want to do, but you got no choice but to do it, all right? So I've done this ride 3 or 4 times last year, but I took it and went to the Botanic Gardens. But when we get to Morton Grove, I'm gonna turn and go the opposite direction of the Botanic Gardens. I want to see where that goes. Now, I've only done it once before with my brother when I was in high school, and I can't recall any of the area of where it goes. I believe it goes over some bridge which takes us over, I don't know if that's Caldwell Avenue, I'm not really sure. But it's into Niles. So yeah, this is gonna be a long ride. So I'm gonna split this up. I'm not gonna do the whole thing as one ride, because that would be incredibly crazy to do that. That video would be just humongous. So what I did is I put a timer on my cell phone. I set it for about 35 or 40 minutes, something like that. And when that timer goes off, then it's time for us to cut out. We'll start it out as another video. So I hope that you stick around for this particular ride, because this is the first ride of the season where we're going to go some distance. So this part of the trail, of course, you're familiar with. We've done this before. And I'm using Google Maps this time. I put Google Maps and told it that I'm riding a bike. And hopefully it finds bike-friendly streets. Now I took a look at the path that it's chosen, and there are some streets that I'm not really familiar with or thrilled with either. But the Bike Map app has not been functioning for a while now. And that's what I've been using more often than not. But it keeps requiring you to buy into their premium service. Now they didn't do that last year, but they're doing it this year, because it doesn't let me out of that loop. It just keeps telling you, if you pay for premium, you'll get certain features, but if you don't, you can continue on with their free service, but free service isn't working. So I looked at another map called Komoot, K-O-M-O-O-T, and that picked some roads I wasn't too thrilled with either. Then I looked at Apple Maps, didn't like that either. So I figured, well, I'll just go with Google Maps, and wherever it takes me, it's where it takes me. So I don't plan to pedal really hard. I've got to kind of conserve a little bit, because this is a long distance we're going. Now, when I did the Botanic Garden run, we're talking 64 miles, okay? We're gonna go on a different different way. So not really sure. Make a U-turn. All right, it's telling us to go the opposite direction. Didn't it tell me to take a right? I'm gonna let this car pass us up first. There's a couple cars, I'm gonna let them go before I attempt to do a U-turn. There's a lot of cars here. We're gonna have to let them all go. There's like a non-stop car action here. All right. I thought that thing told me to take a right. Apparently not. You guys tell me. Did I just turn wrong or what? It actually makes more sense if we go in this direction. I would think. I don't know. I have no clue. I'm terrible with directions. I'm telling you guys. I get lost real quick. Sorry, I'm making adjustments here because my microphone transformer seems to want to pop out of the pocket constantly. We can't have that. So here's the thing with the GoPro. I mentioned in another video recently. You know, if you're gonna make YouTube videos or videos for yourself, the GoPro really is the best way to do it. Now I know at least one person wanted me to adjust my my angle of view to go a little higher, but if we go too high, we miss all this stuff in the front, and I think this really does add to the view of what's going on. So I really can't go too far high. And so I apologize to her for that, but many other people said that they like the angle that I've given so far. I got to go with the majority, unfortunately. And quite frankly, I do like seeing this stuff in the front. All right, so this one's telling me to turn here, but I don't think so. I think it's the next one. The other thing is these roads, sometimes they have similar names. And I'm just looking at the section here where it's telling me 200 feet to make the turn, which would be here.
In 600 feet, turn left onto West Bainbridge Street.
So this is kind of similar to how we go to Bussy Woods and other places, but we're not actually heading in that direction. So I think it's going to take us down Palatine Road, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see how it goes. Now, some of these roads you share with cars, they will do 40, 45 miles an hour. That's the posted sign, but that doesn't mean that's what they're driving. So you do have to be careful. I will tell you that when I first started riding this e-bike, I avoided all the streets. I took all the sidewalks as much as I could till I got used to the bike. Then I think some person said, "Man, Russ, you're afraid of everything." That was the thing that kicked me over the edge. I said, now it's time to hit the streets. So yeah, I've been on the streets ever since. So I do quite a bit now. But you have to remember too that when you haven't ridden a bike in, I don't know how long it would have been, 25, 30 years or whatever. You got to take things slowly. You can't just jump right onto a 30 or 40 mile an hour street and feel comfortable with that. So yeah, be careful out there. Now, supposedly the bike function of the Google Maps should be picking bike-friendly roads. We don't know for a fact that it will, and of course, like I said, some roads you have no choice. You have to take a major road if you're going to some place and there's no other side streets to go. You're going to have to go on a major road. So, but I think what it tries to do is it tries to pick the pick the most friendliest roads first, and then when you got no choice, then it throws you onto some major streets. This is why I say sometimes it's better to look through the route before you go and then decide if it's something you want to do or not. Now, I already know we're going to hit some major streets here.
Continue on North Kennecott Drive for half a mile.
But like I said, I've gone down there before. This will probably be either my 4th or 5th time. I don't know. Can't remember how many times I did it. But because it is a different map system, it's going to probably pick roads that I didn't do before. I know the first time I went down there, it really threw me into different areas. I ended up in Glenview and other areas. Those who are local will know some of these places I'm mentioning, but yeah, I didn't think I'd have to go through there, but for some reason that particular map threw me over there. That's when I started investigating different maps. I said, okay, not all these maps are going to tell you the same thing. Some of them will tell you one thing, others will tell you another. Get some water here. Now I picked this particular date to go because the weather should be in the 70s. So hopefully it won't be so hot. And you know, talking and riding at the same time takes a lot out of you. And I don't want to drink too much water because there's nowhere to go to the washroom. I think that was the biggest thing that I had a issue with the first couple of times I went, is that there was nowhere to go to the washroom. I guess if you're in the forest preserve, you can use the forest preserve if you wanted to do that. I didn't want to do that. I know some people do it like that. They just go off into some bushes and do what they need to do. I don't think they encourage you to do that. But in the direction we're going to go in the opposite direction once we hit the North Branch Trail. I don't know if they have anything anyway, so you don't want to eat too much or drink too much, but you got to keep your fluids up. Now, you might be wondering why I didn't take the Magicycle. Yeah, I would like to, but still waiting for a second battery on that one. And even so, I don't think I will have enough range, even if I have that second battery, to go all the way where we're going today. We can do some other things, but not this particular run. Now, the new Magicycle Ocelot, which is coming out in August, that has a 20 amp hour battery, just like this bike has a 20 amp hour battery, and Magicycle has graciously allowed me to get a second battery because I told him what I plan to do with the bike, that I plan to go some distance with it. And the battery that they're giving me for my Magicycle Cruiser is a different battery than what goes on the Ocelot. So that forces me to take a different type of battery with me, and so I asked them if they would allow me to have a second battery, and they agreed to allow me to do that.
Turn left onto West Thomas Street.
I know they don't do it for everybody, but I appreciate the fact that they recognize what I'm trying to do with their bikes. And with this channel is this channel is mostly a riding channel. You know, we ride to different areas, we talk while we ride, and so in order for me to get to places, I need the batteries to get me there. So the additional range will help. Now, that is a 20 amp hour battery, 52 volt 20 amp hour battery, which is what I have on these triangle batteries on my Rad Rover. And a Rad does not come with these triangle batteries. I bought them as a secondary thing. I sold off the original Rad battery, which is a 48 volt, I believe 14 amp hour battery. And I replaced it with this triangle battery because it gives me 20 amp hours and it's 52 volts. And then I bought a second one, which is strapped to the back of my rear rack. So I haven't taken this ride until now because I was testing that second battery, because as you might remember, I had a problem with the one that I bought last August. The BMS system, the battery management system, kept failing, only allowing me to go a certain amount of distance on that battery, and then it would just shut itself down, and it just kept doing that over and over. So they shipped me another board, and they asked me to do the repair, and I did the repair. And don't worry for the fact that you might think that, well, maybe you did the repair wrong. I didn't. I do have a background in electronics engineering. That's my bachelor's, actually, degree. So I know myself around a soldering iron. I can do these repairs. So I did it, and it didn't work. So we kind of figured the board was no good. And because it had been taking so long and going back and forth, and these boards were coming from China and everything, I just asked them, I says, look, would you guys mind just sending me another battery? Because this one is just not right. And so they decided to send me a second replacement battery for that bad battery. So after I got it, I have to test it. I got to make sure that the battery can do the distances that I need in order for me to use it for these applications. So that's why it's taken me so long before we could actually go on some of these longer rides. So today's the day, and because that particular battery is not as proven as the other battery, which is the one that's mounted on my triangle of the bike frame, I'm putting that battery first. So when I exhaust that battery, then I'm going to switch to the other battery, which is on the triangle, and that'll be the battery that'll bring me back home. So you always put the worst of the two batteries, you ride that one first, and then you use the other battery to get yourself home. I mean, if you use the good battery first, and then you use the worst of the two, or the unproven of the two, you might not make it home. So your least powerful or most unproven battery first, then your more proven battery goes on second, okay? So as I'm riding, I'm constantly looking at my rearview mirror. I want to make sure that cars don't decide to run me over. But some cars will not give you the space that you need. They'll just push you right off to the curb, and they don't really care. Now this car, you can see he's giving me space. That's really what they need to do. They're supposed to give you 3 feet. But again, since this is just a single lane on either side, I try to stay closer to the curb because they really can't squeeze too far to the left since there's oncoming traffic. Now you might wonder sometimes, I'll start talking and then all of a sudden I'll just stop talking. It's because I'm dealing with things as I'm riding. Right now I'm dealing with things that have blown into my eye. This seems to be a common thing. Sorry, I'm slowing down here. I'm just kind of rubbing my eye here. Yeah, things blow into your eye, then you get bugs that run into your face. Or sometime I'm deep in thought, I'm thinking about what the next move shall be, and so I won't be talking at that time. I think we turn, I'm not sure here. We got to keep going a little bit. All right, we got to go around this mess. I don't want to go through that. I'm not as used to this map system. It says take East Minor Street, but then of course it tells you the mileage. So I didn't know that thing said a 1 or a 0.1. I guess if it's a point something, it's a 0 point something, because right now it shows 0.9. So yeah, I'm just kind of learning how Google Maps looks like. I don't typically use Google Maps. Normally I usually, like in the car, I'll be using Apple Maps because I have an Apple CarPlay system in my car. I would say this year the bugs are out or something because they keep flying into my face. I didn't have this many bug problems last year, I don't think. It didn't seem like I was getting hit in the face as much as I am this year. We have a little bit of wind blowing against me, which of course is going to cut into your mileage. But like I said, I'm going to try my best not to hit the throttle as much as I typically would. I need to conserve the battery a little bit. So our speed is not going to go too fast. But hey, one thing that's good is you get to see the neighborhoods. All right. And by the way, if you see that my hands is off the handlebars, is because I'm messing with my face again. Things are blowing into me. I'm scratching. I'm moving. If you hear noise on the microphone, it's because I'm getting a bug off of off my face and underneath the visor. I will say this: the new burn helmet that I'm wearing this year, the visor that they have in the front of it really does work. It really does work. It has kept the sun out of my eyes. So that's a good thing. So these areas we're going into, you guys haven't seen yet if you're new. And a lot of the stuff that we're going to pass, I haven't seen yet either, because there are some streets that like I said, I have never ridden on. So we're all going to learn these neighborhoods together. Somebody asked me to yell out the street names and things like that so that they can kind of figure out where I am. And I told them, you know, a lot of times I don't do that. Just avoid stalkers. I mean, you do have to keep careful of online stalking, right? Now if you can see it, you can read it. I'll leave it to you to figure that out on your own if you're gonna stalk me, right? But I'm not gonna yell them out. I will tell you generally where I am. Sorry. I don't know if that sounds bad on the microphone or not. I'll tell you generally where I think I am, but I won't tell you too many specifics all the time. Now, according to Google Maps, it says it's going to take you 1 hour and 8 minutes to get where we're going. And all I did is I put a random house number onto a random street that's in that general area, so that Google Maps can figure out, I believe we turn here, so it can figure out a path to get me towards that area. So what I did is I just looked up on the street maps and found a house number and stuck it in there. Something that's close, you know, something that's close to where I need to get to. Because a lot of these trails and things, they don't have an address, they just have a general area. And I don't think that Google Maps is really good if you just tell them a general area. If you give them an actual street number, it can figure that out better. So that's what we're doing. And as we pass some of these things too, I don't know myself what what town we might be in. I mean, you could ask Siri. You could say, you know, where am I? And it'll tell you what town or what street you are in. But since I'm running to Google Maps, I don't really want to do that. So yeah, we don't know where we're going. We're just gonna go. I think I have gone down this road before though, so it has picked some roads that I'm a little bit familiar with. I've done it before. I'll tell you some streets, some major streets when we get to major streets, but these little streets, just not worth it. And before people start making comments about stops, I think I have to mention it on every video, at least once. The best I'm going to do is rolling stops, okay? Yeah, please, no comments on the stop things. I think the best thing is if I just mention it at least once in every video, that's what's going to happen. Hopefully that'll stop all the troll comments about stops, and then I'll feel better about it. So, yeah. So if you hear it every single time, we'll just make that one quick mention, okay? Please bear with me as I do that. It just makes it easier for me on the comment sections later. Appreciate it, guys. So anyways, as Google Maps estimates 1 hour, 4 minutes, I don't know, is that actually taking into account how fast I'm actually riding? So it's making that estimation? I would imagine it would be. I mean, a car, or is it based on what the speed limit of the street is, and then calculates it from there? How does it know how long it'll take you to get there? Is it based on speed limit? Or is it based on your speed? Yeah, let me know that in the comments. I really don't know. I've always wondered, is it calculating it based on how fast it sees your vehicle moving and then does a quick estimation? Or does it base it on, says, I don't care how fast this guy's moving, it'll take him this long if he goes speed limit? Let me know, all right? Somebody's got to know out there. I'm sure one of you guys know. We're a smart bunch. Come on, most of us are senior guys. We have some abilities, right? Yeah, let me know. Now, let me give you a little tour here. Off to our left, these are mausoleums. So we're next to some type of cemetery. All right, so I'm looking at the map. Okay. Now I do have the map volume turned up a little bit. I know it probably bothers you because you guys can probably hear it better than I can, but I've got wind up against my ears, and unless I turn that volume up, I can't hear the instructions. I could barely hear myself talking. But the microphone has a windscreen, and it is really good at wind rejection. So the only thing that comes through is whatever it hears, except for the wind. I hear the wind and whatever. So that's why it's turned up. So before you might wonder, why does this guy have this map so loud? It's for that reason, because I can't hear it. So how's my pedaling been lately? Terrible. I know you guys do real well. I mean, there's been comments where some of you guys have lost a lot of weight from all the pedaling that you do. And here I am. I haven't lost hardly anything by riding this bike. And that's because I've been lazy. I pedal and throttle at the same time. Sometimes it's just throttle. That's not going to lose you any weight. When my knee was bad, and I bought this bike to help rehab the knee, yeah, I still didn't lose any weight. But I got good toning. It helped my knee a lot. But weight loss is more than just exercise. It's what you eat, your decisions of the things that you eat, how much you eat, when you eat, plus the exercising. And then I've always viewed exercising as kind of things that tone you up, not things that lose you weight. Some will agree, some will not agree. But yeah, I guess you could lose weight if you just exercise all the time too, because if you only intake the same amount that you usually do, but you exercise and use up a lot of calories, you're gonna lose weight. But if you eat too many calories, no matter how much you exercise, it's going to be hard to make that weight loss. So I've got to learn to curb my appetite. And people will mention the food reviews. That's not helping you. Yeah, I know, it's not helping me. But I like doing them because they're fun. They're fun to do. So, I don't do it every day. I do it once a week. So I kind of figured, well, once a week is not too bad, right? If you went out once a week. Most of the time I'm eating things that I have at home. And here's the problem of staying home, okay, since I've retired. Because I've gained weight since I've retired. And that's because you're always at home. You don't have things to do. The refrigerator's really close by. That's not good. Yeah, that's too convenient. Sitting around, not doing a thing. And then, we haven't been able to go out on the bike that often because the weather's been terrible around here. I don't know how it is in your area, but man, we've had cold weather. I mean, we go from 90 degrees and drop all the way down to 50 degrees. Come on. That's a little too much, right? Then it'll rain on us, so we can't ride in the rain. I guess you could ride in the rain, but I don't prefer to. I guess you could ride at 50-degree weather, but I don't prefer to. So yeah, it's been a tough riding season already. Last year, when I bought the bike, I rode a lot. I mean, like every possible day I can be out there, I was out there. Not this year. Not with the weather taking it the way it's been. It has not been good for riding. Some of you have asked too, what's going to happen during the winter? What are you gonna talk about during the winter? Because you are in the Midwest. Yeah, good point. That's why we said maybe we need to start stockpiling some of these videos. But I have not had the opportunity to do that. Now, I have done things where I've taken one long ride and chopped it up into like 4 or 5 videos. In which case, then you would tend to think the other days that I could be out riding, I should be stockpiling those videos. But then it starts to rain. So I couldn't do it again. I have not had the opportunity to save any videos for our winter stuff. So, what I want to do too is I want to kind of stay relevant to the times. So what end up eventually happening if we start doing the stockpiling is we will be delayed in when I release a video. So in other words, rather than like recording something now and then holding it until December, I'll record it now and then maybe I'll release it a day later, then the next day after that, and the next day after that, and then the other rides will start moving. So what will happen is, like, if you record something here in June, it may not release into July. The July videos that you record may not release until August. You see what I'm saying? It'll slowly start stockpiling so that you have enough that you can release during the winter months. But I don't want to like record them now in June and don't play them until December. That wouldn't make any sense. The ones that you'll see in December might be things that we recorded in October. See, I think that would make more sense because we talk about different things that make sense now may not make sense later. So my videos have always been like up to date. I'll record something and you'll see it in a day or two. That's what I'm used to. Okay, so now we're standing here. We don't have enough weight to trigger the light. And here in Illinois, we have a rule that says if you're standing by a light for 2 minutes and nothing's changed, you can legally pass through the red light. Now I could do this. If you look over here, there's a push button thing there, but I'm not going to go all the way over there to push it. So I'm going to wait for this car in front of us. Hopefully he'll trigger it, but he's a right turning guy, so he's not going to stand there for a long time. Hopefully they get enough cars. If he leaves too early, it won't trigger. No, I guess it triggered it. So here we go. So yeah, I've only used the rule twice last year, where I stood there for over 2 minutes, nothing happened, so I just jumped up on my bike and rode right through that red light legally. That is legal for me to do. Okay, I mean, everywhere we go there's different rules, right? Alright, so according to Google Maps, in a half a mile we're going to hit Central. Now, Central is a more major road. I believe parts of Central have a bike lane, but that bike lane is so narrow, and they don't clean it. And what I mean by that is street cleaners sometimes don't clean that area. So what happens is all the dirt, all the pebbles, all the grime from the street, when cars pass it, it usually gets pushed to one side or the other. So if you look towards the curbs always look dirty. Well, that's your bike path. So technically, you get a bike path, but you get the worst road to ride because the cars have moved everything over to that side and the cleaners haven't cleaned it. So that's what we're going to be on for a while. Now, while we're on this road, I may end up throttling. I'll have to see. I may end up throttling harder. And the reason I do it usually when I'm on some of these streets is because I don't want to stay on the street any longer than I have to. So I throttle to keep up with traffic and try to get off that road as fast as I can get off of it. Okay, according to this, our timer is over, so we should stop at this point. So I'm gonna stop us here now. Then I'm gonna cross the street because it is technically no left turn; it's a right turn only. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go across this walkway, and then I'm gonna go to the left. So let's call it quits for this video. We'll pick it up on the next video. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, watch the upcoming other episodes because we're gonna keep going. And we're going to head towards those areas that we haven't seen before, okay? Put a comment below if you've gone this far and been watching the whole time. All right, I'll talk to you guys in the next video.